fine. If you don't know why you're here, we're going over passwords again. So just before I get started, I want to address the fact that most of you were here for my other one. I appreciate you making it through that. I realized after the fact it was a lot of information. We're going to start with reviewing some of that, but it's going to be like, I think I took the 50 slides and condensed them into like 5 or 6, so it's a lot more digestible. This class is 2 parts. Some of you will be missing the second part, but I will be recording it as well. So if it seems like at the end of this there's some left to be said, that's true, and we'll catch up next time. Great. Okay, I want to be very clear. I added to the very top.
That's good. Good.
Thank you. The most important accolade. Okay. And then I recognize most of your faces, so I won't go into my whole spiel, but I'm a professional who's done this for a while. Again, I just don't want you to think I'm trying to spout craziness up here. I do have some credentials. Okay, again, thank you very much. I think this is my 5th or 6th seminar that I've done like full recordings of. I'm starting to get the hang of this whole process as well. I will, in a second slide, I'll show you how, but if you have any ideas on contents or any comments on the content itself or suggestions, ideas, anything like that, let me know. Again, let me know if you're not getting emails. I'll address that in a second to show you what they look like when you, if you should get them.
That's just a door.
Yeah.
That was a door.
That's yeah. Yeah, it's just, yeah.
It was not a job. I could see the door.
Yeah, I can too.
I didn't know you're supposed to have the kids against the door, though.
Yeah. Anyway, so all that being said, when I first started sending out the emails after these classes, they started coming in as technical consulting, which is like the full business name. I'm doing business as. I'm sorry about that. I have corrected it so it looks like it's coming from me. I mean, my email is in there if you open it, but so emails going forward should look like this. Old emails may look like that. And then the email will actually look something like this. I know this is a little sketchy, but I promise it's me. Just don't. If you have any questions, just ask me. Yes?
I think the idea of this has nothing to do with the passwords, but the idea that getting an email nowadays with artificial intelligence out there,
sure,
that you need, even if it says it's coming from Microsoft or it says
correct,
it's coming from Dell, if your computer is a Dell, you need to see where it came, actually who sent it.
Agree with you.
And if it's
yep,
Robert ABC 957, it's probably a hack.
Agreed with you. And I'll show you in like this instance, because I do add a lot of good information in my emails, but I'll show you how to access that even if you aren't comfortable clicking directly through the email. But she's absolutely right. Emails very rarely should be interacted with directly. They should always be taken as a piece of information to follow up with the party in which is sending that email. So in other words, password resets or anything, if your bank says, hey, there's a problem on your account with a giant link to fix now, you should probably ignore the email, call the bank, go to them directly. And it's related to passwords.
And credit cards.
Credit cards, anything that seems, if it's in the email and it seems like your life is going to be ruined if you don't do it right now, it's probably fraud. There's very few things that happen in an email that's going to greatly impact your life. Okay, that being said, a great example, because this is what my emails look like. There's a link here, there's a link here, there's a link here, there's a link here, there's a link here. These are all things you can click on if you feel comfortable doing so. And I'll show you how to get to those without going through the email if you feel uncomfortable. This is when I record these presentations. You can watch it here. If you want the actual slides, digital copy of the handout, you can click on this here. Usually after every session, I get questions and stuff like that, and there may be times where I don't have really good detailed information on those questions, so I tend to create blog posts here about those questions in more depth. And then this is where you can leave like comments on the content, recommendations, anything like that, and then review, but ignore that. If you don't feel comfortable clicking directly through the email, on the top of my page, the handout, you'll see it says link. You'll see my email, my phone number, and then a link. That link is to my information, and you'll see things like the articles, the videos, and the files that I represent outside of the email. So you can always go there directly. Because good point. Clicking on stuff in emails nowadays is sketchy. So, okay. Now we're getting into it. Any questions so far before we get started? Okay. I promise. So this first section, the password problem, is going to be a lot of review of the first class. Because in my mind, we're starting completely fresh. Because I know that was a lot. We're going to start from ground zero, but hopefully in a very much more manageable line of thinking this time. Okay. The password problem. Okay. Again, I want to start with why we're talking about this. I know passwords seem like these very annoying things that always pop up and do this and do that, but at the end of the day, they're important because they protect your identity and other things like your banking, your email, and everything, right? Everything has a password because we're just trying to prevent people from getting into our account and ultimately either affecting us financially, which is the main goal, or ruining our lives, identity theft, stuff like that. So I know it seems really simple, but it has a great impact. Okay, and because of this, and because there's so much, we tend to make a few common mistakes. We tend to write them down. Two things about writing them down, because I've gotten questions on that. What is wrong with writing them down? Number one, this is less of the concern, but if your house gets broken into or stolen or whatnot, and you have a giant password book or something there that's very blatant and open, take it. Why not, right? It's very easy to take your life that way. Also, writing them down is not secure in the terms of losing it. Something happens to your house, you just lose the file. Also, I've seen this many a times where you have a file with like 5 different crossed out passwords and there's one that's circled because it's supposed to be the current one. And then you do change it, but you forget to update the current one. Yeah. So it's less about just... No, it's okay. It's okay. No.
I'm embarrassed.
No.
Oh my goodness.
None of this is shaming. None of this is shaming because we... No. Because we...
It's called a reality check.
Exactly. We all do this. I have even done this, right? But all I'm trying to say is it's more about someone, because you're like, who's ever going to see this book? Probably no one's ever going to see it, but what happens if you lose that book? Then you're also SOL, right? We reuse passwords. Why? Because it's easier to remember things like that. Again, I'm not blaming anyone. That's human nature, right? And I forgot to add it to this slide deck, but on my other one, I found statistics saying that the average person, not even a heavy user or anything like that, not someone like me, just like the average person has 80 to 100 passwords that they have to maintain. Right? So that's a lot. Yeah.
Okay. I have a spreadsheet that I have put them on in the computer.
Sure.
And then send it, just done it in as an email type of a thing, where I can access this from the others. But I also do print it to
Sure.
have easy access at home. But that's probably maybe one step above having a book. I'm not sure.
It would be one step above.
What is it she said?
Yeah, I'll repeat. So she said, I have a spreadsheet on my computer that I keep all my passwords in, and I print it from time to time, and then do you destroy and update and destroy the other one?
Yeah.
I consider that still a bad practice.
Right.
You have a very specific, we've talked a little more about your setup. You're different. I can't, yeah. Because I know you. No, and I don't mean that. Sorry, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all.
Today I wrote that.
I'm sorry. I promise I'm saying that as a good thing, a benefit.
Shame on you.
No, I know particularly you have a lot of protection around your system.
That's correct.
So you have a huge bubble for them to get in before they get their spreadsheet. For me to tell the average person who has nowhere near that bubble, I have to just say a blanket statement, that's not a good idea. But I know you're a little more advanced than the average in terms of your setup, yeah.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
No, yeah.
Here,
Sure.
I did notice that I write mine out on a sheet and it's on the computer and I reprint it, but we had a friend
Mhm.
come help with some little thing. He went all the way through my desk.
Yeah.
And found all the passwords.
Yep.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Didn't ask me, I was there.
Didn't ask you.
I didn't mean he took them, he didn't take them.
No, sure.
But he wanted to know the password, so he just went and found them all.
Yeah.
So if it's a stranger, you want to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, I've helped a lot of people related to the YMCA and others. I usually ask permission because I don't just like to rifle through people's stuff. But the amount of passwords I've been able to find in physical form is more common than not. To hit the spreadsheet thing again about keeping your passwords in a spreadsheet, I almost want to consider that less secure than having them on paper
Oh, really?
in the form of someone else getting access to it.
Okay.
Because if you somehow find yourself in a scam or something where they have access to your computer and your spreadsheet is called passwords, I mean, that's just
No.
that's just golden, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I used to teach Spanish, so I put mine in Spanish in my phone, and that assumes that all Spanish people are just real honest.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I love it.
that's pretty good though. That's pretty good. I will say that's a first. I've never had someone try to incorporate their passwords in a different language.
That's great.
But all jokes aside, considering Spanish is like the second most spoken language in the world, probably still not good. but I like the idea behind it. Yes, Beth.
Well, I put mine under my husband's college roommate who passed away years and years ago. It's something private. I don't want anybody to know. Nobody that I know would know his name. So I put it all under his name, whether it's on my phone or my computer.
That's depending on how you do that, still not best practice, but that's a good concept in terms of trying to, like I said, if you just have something that says blatant passwords, it's pretty easy. But yeah, still a pretty good tactic. Yeah. And then we all tend to use personal information, and I'll get into what I mean exactly by that. But anything, and I know the last class I was a little more lenient about it, but I've had time to think about it. Even if it's something way back in your past and whatnot, I would still consider that not best practice. And then we just end up creating weak passwords. Even if they're all different, creating a weak password can also be a bad thing, and I will delve into that more. Any questions? We've got a young visitor.
Hi. Sidewalk superintendent.
Right, yeah. Okay. And again, why do we make these mistakes? Because passwords are abundant. There's just so many of them. It's hard for us to remember, if we actually remember, right? And because they're so abundant, they're hard to manage, right? I mean, we change them all the time nowadays. I mean, a lot of places make you change them after 90 days or so. So, that becomes a paperwork nightmare, especially if you write things in pen or whatever. And then because we're requiring to make more and more secure passwords, because even the most minimum passwords are 8 to 12 characters, uppercase, lowercase, special character, numbers. Because of that added complexity, it also just makes all of this hard, right? Mm-hmm. So that is me trying to say that the reason why you're writing things on paper or putting them in an Excel sheet or et cetera is because there is a problem with that, right? With the whole password system. I'm making a note. I did not address it in this slides because I want to start with a little bit going forward. Has anyone heard the term pass key? Has your browser asked you to set up a pass key?
Yeah.
Okay, I will get to that. That's a form of MFA, which I will also explain what that is.
I think my bank uses that.
Yep. Pass keys are kind of what they're... I'll address that when we get forward. I don't want to jump the gun to make that. Okay, so what is a strong password? They are long, complex, They can contain passphrases. So we've tried to switch from saying just password, which is a single word, going with the addition of uppercase, lowercase numbers, etc., into using passphrases. So in other words, a string of words together that either mean something or don't mean something. The goal behind that is the brain tends to find those more memorable than just random stuff. And then we want to remove personal information. So PII stands for personal identifiable information. That's the technical term. And then repeats, in other words, reused passwords. This is the formula. Again, this is hard to do, I understand. Some people find this really easy. Some people find this really hard. Ultimately, the goal is to not have to do this manually. This is where I'm getting us going. But I just want us to understand what the goal is.
What?
Yeah.
And you call those passphrases?
Passphrases.
Okay,
Meaning,
are you using in that passphrase, I see where a longer is stronger, 12 characters here.
yeah.
So does the 12 characters mean that you have, a lot of them ask for numbers, capital, but on your little, is that a passphrase example here? Like red chair, red
Yes,
bass?
it is, yes.
And you capitalized some of those, and
Exactly.
is that still necessary?
It's so the
Am
more
I making any sense?
you are absolutely making sense. So if you didn't hear, the question is on the paper there's like there's an example of a passphrase with a red chair, whatever. Yes. So those passphrases, the main goal behind a passphrase is to make them longer, because if you use multiple words, that already makes the password longer, and memorable, because words are easy to remember. And then it's, of course, always a great idea to add some more complexity to that. I know we went really deep into that before, but you can add uppercase characters, lowercase characters. We can also use things like substitutions, like you can use the at sign for an A, zeros for O's, things like that. So if you combine all those together in kind of passphrases, then you're going to get something more decent.
Okay.
Again, if you're doing passwords manually, my goal is trying to shift, which is okay, but my goal is trying to shift towards trying to automate as much of this as possible so it's not a huge burden. Because, like in all things, let's say that we really are like, okay, we want to start creating strong passwords. There's going to be a time where you need to do something really quick, sign into an app, you're at a restaurant or an event or something, and it wants you to create an account and link your Apple Wallet and everything else, and you're going to create a really easy password so that you can just get through that, and then you're going to go back later and forget to change it again to something more secure. You know what I mean? Trying to eliminate the human factor is the ultimate goal, which is hard. I get it.
Other question.
Sure.
If, say, use passphrases, can, say, for instance, Amazon or whatever, my account there with them, can I use the same passphrases for everything?
No.
No.
No. The same. I appreciate the try, but no. And I know that seems like such a huge ask, but the truth behind that is if for some reason Amazon account gets hacked, I'll go into this in a second. Hackers will do what they call spraying. So they'll use the same combination, so your email and your password across multiple sites. Yeah.
And you get caught in the ones like Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's a password that you've used 7 other places, and all of a
Yes.
sudden that it had nothing to do with what you do.
Exactly.
But that's what they seem to be going after right now is the bigger the better. They try to hack the insurance companies,
Yep.
government.
You may have covered this too after Lynn's done. What about when they want you to change it like every month or every 6 weeks or whatever? Do you have any solutions for that?
Yeah. So it means it depends on what the problem that you're talking about is with that.
I have a bank that does that.
But you're talking about in terms of managing the changes of that, right?
I have to change my password
Right.
for business accounts every
Right.
month.
So right now the industry is kind of flipping its I'm trying to think of a well-formed thought here. So it used to be pretty standard that we would change passwords every 90 days. The goal behind that is, and it's still not a terrible idea, but the thought behind that is if for some reason someone acquired that password or it was something related to you or whatever, it would change, right? So that even if they got it, it wouldn't happen. Usually data breaches are pretty slow. They're not like really fast happening things. It always seems really fast because when you hear about it, a lot of stuff has to happen after it. But like ones I've been through before, like professionally, it can be months. So the most part, if you have a password that's 90 days old, a lot of the times after 90 days, for them that password's old, which is good.
Is Google Password Manager safe at all or not?
I'll get there too. Yep, because that's a good question. Her question was if Google Password Manager is safe, and I will go forward. But to answer your question, kind of what I'm getting at is using password managers. They make flipping those passwords a lot easier. So you don't have to necessarily remember them. Because I know what you're saying. Like you change a password every 90 days and you're like, oh crap, what did I change it to? Then you gotta, sometimes I'm sure you reset it because you didn't remember what you did last time, and that becomes a management nightmare, right? And then what I was saying is
30 more minutes to reset your password.
Exactly, yeah. And I definitely understand that struggle. But kind of what I was saying before is we're kind of switching from, I don't even know if I want to mention that, but the goal.
Sorry, I took you.
No. If you truly create like truly strong, like I'm talking about 64 character random passwords, the industry is switching from changing them every 90 days to making extraordinarily long and complex passwords. The reason why I was debating whether to mention that is because I don't know if we'll get to that point in our personal lives, because I don't even quite get there.
But they limit you. They either want 8, 16,
True.
or no more than 16 usually for passwords. So they limit you for making that
True.
10-page
Yes,
password.
sometimes websites, for whatever reason, they do actually limit the amount of and type of information you can put in as a password.
Yeah.
Because fun fact, literally a fun fact, so the computer codex is what we call ASCII, so ASCII. Emojis are actually now part of the ASCII table, so you can technically use emojis in passwords. Just a fun fact.
What fun is cool?
Yeah. But it makes it a lot harder. I mean, who's going to sit there and like, oh, my password's all emojis, smiley face, happy face. Anyway.
You can remember it.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Someone else besides you needs to know some of the passwords, because when his brother died, he had a little note on the wall of passwords. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't anywhere near all the passwords.
Sure.
And he had done years of ancestry, and nobody had access to it.
So,
What about Ancestry? Could you get it from them?
We didn't get, we got what he had given us already, but
Yeah.
when he passed, we didn't have access.
so she was saying some other people need to have your passwords. Absolutely correct. Password managers, a lot of them nowadays have what we call break glass, which means that if something happens to you, there's a code or a key you can save with someone so that they can get access to all of it.
Okay.
There are things that you have to consider in terms of who has that, how to store that, whatnot, right? Because that's still another master key to your whole life. But you're absolutely right. I've been through situations with people like that. It's very hard. So that also accounts for that.
Now, the break glass thing, does the person know that the other person is accessing their password? I'm thinking of kids.
Right.
Okay? So if you're a parent or grandparent and you're monitoring your grandchild and
Mhm.
you want to look at their passwords, is this the case? Would you call it break glass in this case? And
Yeah,
can you see that you're looking into that?
Let me clarify. So I call it break glass because it's like in case of emergency. Each company is going to call it something different. Generally speaking, how this works is you set either an email account to someone. So like you add like if I have dylanwisdom97.com or at gmail.com as my account, most password managers either let you add a secondary account, or you can set up just a key, which is usually a very long piece of text that you can store physically, and then they can go in and unlock it with that. It's very long because hopefully you never have to use it, right? And it has to be secure. But generally speaking, no, they don't just get a notification, hey, they're doing this for you. It's something that you would have to account for, like you do any kind of estate planning, I would.
Okay, so like if I gave this to my brother, can I see when he's gonna get access to my password?
There should be login logs, and it should notify you. There should be different settings on how to handle that, and we can look into that. I wrote it down as a thing, so when we get more into the password manager side of things, I can look at that with everyone too. But that's a good question, because that definitely happens, and part of the password manager thing is so that if something does happen to you, people have access.
What's a password manager?
We're getting there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
No. This seems very sped up, and that's true, because I'm going to try and get you to the point where you don't have to worry about creating your own passwords or deciding if they're secure. Where I want to get you is using some sort of password manager product so that it does the hard, heavy lifting for you. I mean, it's not a complete, set it and forget it type thing, but it takes a lot of the human aspect out of the error portion of this. So, where were we? Oh, yeah. So, personal identifiable information, your name, family's names, birthdays, anniversaries, address and phone number, and pet names. Social engineering, if you've not heard me talk about it before, is someone trying to scam or hack you as a person. They do that through many, many things, many forms. Bad emails are a big one. Text messages, phone calls, all usually wanting you to act on an immediate need to either get access to your computer directly or just straight up give you bank account information. Depends on what they're trying to get at. Or your password. That happens too. On a more rare event, if they are smart enough and you have enough public information, there are certain things like if you use your name, address, pet name, or whatever in your password, there are tools that they use to kind of use that type of information and generate 1,000 passwords around that, and so that they can try that multiple times. So the reason why these are not safe to use is because they link back to you, and generally they're pretty public. I know I hate to say that your address is public, but in terms of things, if someone wants it, they can get it, right? Yeah, exactly. So if you can just go on Facebook and see this piece of information and it's in your password, you've just made their job a lot easier. It's not a shoo-in. There's still a lot of work for them to be done, but these people are professionals. Any questions before I go on? Because that's a big topic and I don't want to... Yes?
Until we get our hands on this, could we leave passwords in the safety deposit box in the bank?
Yes. That's a lot better than in your home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good call.
I don't know what the average bank's rating is for fire, but you always have to consider paper with fire. So that's the biggest concern. But in terms of securing access to, safety deposit boxes are fantastic.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
However,
problem.
when you have to change them every 90 days, it's a big deal.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Get a fire-resistant bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, is this so far more palatable than the last one? Are we doing okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. I'm getting a lot more questions, a lot more happy faces than I'm so lost. So. Okay, so MFA, big question. So we used to call it two-factor authentication, which was TFA or 2FA. We stopped doing that because now we're usually doing two or more. So we call it multi, meaning there's many. There doesn't have to be many, but that's what it means. So on the average login, you have your username, which is just telling the computer who's trying to log in. And then you have your password, one factor that you give to it. And then that says, okay, this person proved who they are because they gave me a password, which is a thing that you know. A password is a thing that you know. So when we talk about multi-factor, it's adding something on top of your password to say, okay, it seems like you are who you are, but prove it even further. And that's what we're trying to do. And generally speaking, we want to have, because it's multi, you want to have one or more of these. 2 passwords is not necessarily more secure than something else, right? So the way that this in MFA generally is something that you have. So have you ever logged into somewhere and then you get like a pop-up and then you have to hit approve or something like that?
Yeah.
That is something that you have because it's sending a message to your phone and you're proving that that phone is also yours and you have it. Something you know, which is passwords. That's generally what we've been doing all the time. And then things that you are. So this is like Face ID, fingerprints, things like that, right? So these are all factors to prove who you are. And this is all things about how to support your passwords, including MFA. But we're going to create complex passwords, of course, right? We're going to set up MFA, which is email, text, and bio is biometrics. So a lot of the times you'll get another code to your email, right? Like the 6-digit codes. I know we're all in like a huge 6-digit code world, and that everything's a 6-digit code, right? We also call those OTPs. If you hear the term or see the term OTP, which stands for one-time password. And I've worked with a lot of you. I know it seems like you see the word password and you got to write that down. But those 6 code passwords you don't have to write down. Almost every time I see someone get one, they write it down because they're like, oh, I'll need it later, but you don't. It's okay. They're one time. They change all the time. Those, on their end of things, they're generating you a new one-time password every 30 seconds.
What do you mean on their end?
So like if you log into your bank and they say, do you want me to send you an email or a text with a code?
Right.
That code changes on their side every 30 seconds.
Okay.
The goal, so you don't have to do anything with that. But you may see the 30 seconds sometimes because has anyone downloaded like an authenticator app? Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, anything like that? Some accounts require it, some don't. But that usually rotates a 6-digit code every 60 seconds.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. But I have to remember that.
But I have to write it down because I can't remember it.
Well, that's fair too. That's fair.
Yeah,
I just mean it's not for long-term storage. You don't need
Because
to like.
otherwise it flips away just that quick and then I gotta go try to
He
find it.
does it so quick and easy.
Well,
Anyway.
my brain has created this weird. I can remember 6-digit codes very
Well,
easily.
you copy and paste them.
Well, that's true too.
You're young.
We also want to update our weak passwords, remove passwords with old info in it, and this either update the old passwords themselves. If you've been part of a breach and certain things have been leaked, like your email and stuff, we want to make sure that we're changing those passwords. We can get into that more. This is also, I'm kind of talking about like old other forms of multi-factor authentication are security questions. Like, what was your firstborn child's name? What was your mother's maiden name? Where did you grow up? Stuff like that. We've tried to shift. There are still some companies that use that. We've tried to shift away from that because of the mass amount of information you can find on anyone publicly. Like, what's the name of your first pet or something like that. And if you've been on Facebook for 20, 30 years, it might be on there somewhere, right? So. And then do not share passwords. 100% true. I stand by this. Now, password managers do have functions behind them to help you do that securely in the effect that we have to share passwords. In our households, I can't remember who pays for who, but we all have all the streaming services, but only a few of us pay for each one of them. And so obviously there's a password that has to be shared there somewhere, and there are secure ways of sharing passwords. In the event of convenience, or in the event of a life change like death or something like that.
Are you going to talk about that in the next class on how to share your passwords?
Yes. And I will make a note of it just in case.
Thank you.
But yes. Okay. So why? So what does all this mean? So I just wanted to go into this a little bit. You don't need to get hung up on this. But why do we need secure passwords? What's the big deal, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a couple ways that people use these. Number one, they do brute force attacks. So if your password was leaked or they have some personal information or things like that, they're going to use that same password across a whole bunch of accounts. And they may get lucky or they may not. And it may just be logging into your Chipotle app and they're going to see what your orders are. Fine, whatever. Or it could be your bank account and then they have access. But that just means that the reason why I say don't reuse passwords is because even if you change it slightly is because they're going to take one password that they know works potentially and they're going to alter that in many different ways. The thing is, it's not a person doing all this, it's a computer. So they have these systems and these computers, they can put in a few bits of information they know about you and generate a whole bunch of different passwords. And then spraying, again, that's really why we don't want to reuse the exact same password, is because if they log in to an account successfully once, they're going to go across all your accounts with the same password. Why not? Why wouldn't they? Because 90% of people reuse their passwords. I don't know if 90, that's not an actual statistic, I'm sorry, I just see it a lot, is what I'm saying. And then social engineering. Without using personal information, we want to try and limit the ability for them to get information out of you. Because at the end of the day, we're very trusting, and we are willing to give up that information if we feel like we are being threatened in some way. Happens all the time. Like, if you're sitting in this class and you're like, I would never, fall for a call, someone asking for my money. But if they call you and say, hey, and they sound really legitimate, they're like, your daughter, your grandson, whatever, is in jail, and we need this information right now, or they're going to be stuck in there for a year, whatever. Changes the mental ability to think through that. Okay. Yes.
That's really interesting, and I think we've all been hearing that's that's been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But something maybe similar to that, or something that you felt like. How do you protect yourself? Do you use, like, there's a safe word in your family that to do something like that to protect yourself from that happening?
You can definitely do that. I mean, safe words are always an okay thing. My overarching suggestion for any type of situation, if the county jail is calling you and they say all this stuff, hang up, call the county jail.
Oh, yeah.
In any situation. If one party is, or if someone is pretending to be representing a certain party, a bank, jail, whatever, you don't have to be impolite about it, but just say, okay, I would like to review this and I'll call you back. And then go find the number, call the correct party, and then go from there. And a lot of times, and these kind of scams are going to be like, oh yeah, we've been getting this a lot, and blah, 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 blah. So that's the overarching. I mean, you can definitely come up with secret words and whatnot on how to handle your family, and situational awareness of things you're going through at the time is going to be really dependent on that, right? And what I mean by that is if you get a password, oh, you tried to reset your password reset, or oh, someone's trying to log in and you're like, I have not done any of that or initiated any of that.
Right.
Context is huge. Yeah. Or yes.
I got a call one day, a desperate call, and they said, well, we have your grandson here. You need to send somebody to get him out. I says, lock him up and throw the key away. They hung up on me.
Yeah. 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 And you can always, and another thing, it's not always a guaranteed tell, but most of the time they try to get right into the call and they create such a sense of urgency that if you take a moment to stop and you question what they're saying, they're going to go, and then you're like, okay, fine.
Put them on hold.
Yeah, that too.
I like that.
If I have the time to spare, I will play with them. I'll be like, okay, I'm doing that now. All right, good. Which one? Okay. And then I'll just, anyway, don't do that, please. There's no reason for you to expose yourself more to that, but when...
You're telling me you wouldn't bail Grandma out?
Oh, well, of course.
You better be prepared, because we're going on a trip.
Yeah.
That's right. You better be, she's a wild woman.
I know. Okay, until we get to the password managers, the bare minimum I would suggest doing right now, make sure your email has the most different and secure password than anything. The reason why your email is it's still one of the most common forms of multi-factor authentication that companies use. In other words, if your bank account and your email have the same password, and they log into your bank account and they send a code to your email to see if you can log into your bank, and then they can also log into your email with the same password, then you're cooked. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Say that one more time.
Sure. So I'm going into my bank and I'm logging in. I say, Dylan, password. It says, okay, to log into your bank, we're going to send a 6-digit code to your email. Okay, so they're going to send that 6-digit code to your email. I log into my email, and the password is the same as my bank account. So if a hacker gets your bank account password for some reason, they're not going to be able to log in because you have your email set up. You have to get the code from your email to the bank. But if your bank account password and your email password are the same, then they can just log into your email, log into your bank, get the code from there, right? So having two forms of protection with the same password is a bad deal. I know at least a few people in this room who are not going to like this, and we can talk about this more specifically in your case, but blanket statement, your phone should have a password on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop there because I know some people like it, some people don't, but depending on what so the average person has so much information on their phone. And your phone is also a form of multi-factor authentication. So if they have access to your phone, like if you have an authenticator app where they send you a text message and they can just wide open your phone, they can get into that. And how would they get your phone? Theft, petty theft, anything like that. It's making it harder now, but they used to do SIM swapping where they would steal the chip out of your card, give you the phone back. You'd be like, oh, my phone's not working. Then they'd stick the chip in a device or another phone. Anyway. And then all of your financial accounts where like you have money moving needs to have a different secure password. This is my bare minimum. Okay.
Okay, a question.
Yes.
I have an email. I've had the same one, Nancy WB23@yahoo.com. Is that what you're saying I need to change?
No, the password to your email.
The password
I'm sorry.
to my email.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
I want to clarify. When I say change your email, I'm sorry. I mean the password for your email.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yes, thank you. I am sorry that I
No.
made it sound like that.
I just
No.
thought, oh no, and how's anybody going to get a hold of me if I change it?
Right. No. That is not what I intended.
Some of that you don't even know and need it, you have it. And
Right. So
they say you can't do it.
yeah, having the same email address is not alone insecure. It just, if you've had an email, the same email for a very long time, you're going to see a huge influx of spam over the years because the more and more you use your email, the more and more breaches or whatever, minor breaches or major breaches, whatever. In my opinion, your email is a public piece of information like anything else. So anyone's going to be able to send you an email. It's up to you to be able to manage that. Yeah. But yes, I was specifically talking about the password for your email. These are links. I'm not going to go into this because I'm already halfway through the class, but I will go through them really quick because I put the links in the page for this. So I'm not going to show you exactly, but I want to show you what I'm talking about. So this first one is from 1Password, and I believe it says 1password.com. They are a password manager, and they have a tool to generate secure passwords and passphrases. If you have a hard time, if you choose not to use a manager, but you still want to create secure passwords, they can take a lot of the heavy lifting out of that for you by helping you create ones. Okay?
So where do you get this password manager?
I'm going to show you anyway.
Oh.
No, you're good. You're good. No, stop apologizing. You're fine. So, if you go to that link, which is in my thing. I'm sorry. So see this password down here? It helps you. So this is like a really random password. But see how it has like tabs for rememberable? So this is a really long password. And it's random, right? So it helps you come up with like a passphrase. It also has pins, so you can come up with random numbers. Because if someone has, I did not mention this, and I'll make a note, but if you're using a pin, like a 4 to 6 digit pin, and it's your birth date, anniversary date, social security number, anything like that, you should probably not do that. You should not do that. Not probably. It's not good, because those are also pretty public too. Birth dates, anniversary dates, things like that. All someone has to do is go on Facebook and see the last time, see if you're married, your status is married, and see when the last time you celebrated your anniversary was.
So if you go into your, just an account with whatever company or whatever, and you get the opportunity to change that PIN, is like being able to change your password, you can change a PIN?
Exactly. Yeah, pins and passwords are pretty much handled the same way from website to website. It's just, usually PIN is the connotation between password and PIN is pins are numeric, which passwords can be a mix of numbers, letters, etc. Usually pins are only numbers, usually. Anyway, this is just a tool. You don't have to understand anything about this necessarily. It's just, this is for the people who don't want to add a manager to their life, and they want to make better passwords. This is just a tool, so you don't have to do it all on your own. Does that make sense? And you can actually make you can make this as long as you want.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Anyway, okay, so password strength. So if you're already using like that password manager or that password generator that I just showed, it's going to be a pretty strong password. But if you want to test your own passwords to see if they're strong or not, like ones you've come up with.
So is that an app you have to go to?
No, it's a website, and it's in the page.
Oh,
Yeah.
right here, first page, Oh, you can go there and they help you.
Right.
Do password string, common passwords.
Yep.
Compromise does, that's not.
Yeah, so this is just to test your own passwords if you don't believe me that they're not good.
And you're using Bitwarden.
It's just a tool.
Yeah, I know.
There's other multiple tools out there. This is just,
That you wrote down. Right
yeah.
here. Okay.
Anyway, it's not actually very secure because it will say very secure, but you see what I was trying to do there. It'll tell you. And
So, is that something I have to remember too?
No, you don't have to. I'm just saying if you want to check your passwords to see if they are secure, strong, you can type them in here and it'll tell you how bad it or good it is.
Oh, how bad and how good.
Well,
Right.
most of the time when you're doing this, it will, when you're trying to reset your password.
Exactly, yep.
It will usually tell you that it wasn't strong or.
That is true. That is true. But if you have passwords written down or whatnot that you've used before and you want to see, you can also do it. It's just a tool. It's nothing you have to do. I just wanted to show you.
I like that it said that it's gonna take 5 years to crack that one.
Yeah. So when you see that, because you'll see that on almost every password checker, when they say it takes 5 years to crack, they mean if you take the length of that password and you tried every single combination in that length, that's how long it would take a computer to find the right option. So in other words, if I had an easy one is like 1-digit number. I have 9 options, right? It would take very little time. If I have 2-digit number, it's going to take 1 to the power of 2, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this is not anything you have to look at either. I just wanted to, or you don't have to interact with it is what I was saying. But this is NordPass, which if you've heard of NordVPN, they're more famous for their VPN, but they also have a password manager. These are some of the most common passwords they've had or that they've noticed that have been in breaches and things like that. So again, don't make your password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know, the 7, 8, 9 cracks me up because, you know, someone went through the keypad on their keyboard and they were just like, I have people even that I manage today, what we call users and stuff, that still try to do stuff like this, 40, which is just across the top row of the keyboard. Right? Yeah, so if you look at a standard keyboard, it's just QWERTY, it's just these 5 letters. That's just for fun. And then compromised passwords. If you want to know if you've been in a breach, you can put your email address in here.
You use one, the password thing?
Yep, it's the 4th one. Yeah. It's called Have I Been Pwned? So if you put in an email address, right here. Now, all of this needs to be verified, right? Oh, sorry. Like, so Life 360, who uses Life 360? Yeah. Yeah. So, like, in 2024, there was a Life 360 breach. Email addresses, names, phone numbers. So that's why my email popped up, AT&T. Now, to be clear, this is not saying that your information was leaked. They're just saying that your information was associated with this company and was potentially leaked. What you have to do is go back to that company and verify, right? But this is just...
Hospital breaches, that would appear when our emails are on there, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
Kansas City had one, and we had...
Yeah, we'll have to look. It depends on how... I don't know all what their database encompasses or how fast they update, but they are pretty good at adding stuff like that. It's just a tool, again. This is not an all-encompassing thing. The real thing behind this, you can also look at... Oops, sorry. They also... Sorry, I'm struggling to go all the way to the top. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. You can also look at passwords that have been compromised. So, if you type in a password that you use a lot into this website, it'll show you if it's been exposed in any data breaches. And obviously, if that is true, you need to change it. But it's a good tool to see. Because let's say that your AT&T account did get compromised and your password was released. Fine, change your password with AT&T. But my point is it doesn't stop there. If you reused that same password on other accounts, you need to change that same password on those other accounts because they'll go around and they'll try and use it. Does that make sense? But this kind of, it's just a tool, so you have to verify the information, right? But this is kind of like I don't even know where to start because I don't know if it's ever been leaked or anything like that, right? So it's like, if you are truly a person out there that uses one password for everything, in your own time, I would plug that in and look through that and act accordingly.
So how do you get to that site?
It's this website on the bottom.
On the bottom.
On the bottom, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. So,
Okay, all right, got it.
no, you're fine. Let me go back. So I didn't add... Sorry, I forgot I have a laser pointer. I didn't add the links here because I can click on them, but it's in this order. Everything that I did is on that order in that page. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So you're plugging in your password on that last compromised password.
Yep.
You plug in, you go to that site.
Yep.
And it,
You plug in your password.
I can't remember your password.
Well, see, that's part of the problem then. Yeah. Yep.
You might get some scary news.
You could get some scary news, and that's why I'm not going to
Okay.
take any volunteers or anything. Now, listen, it's just a tool. I want to be clear.
I know.
None of this is fear-mongering.
It's okay.
If you happen,
Fear-monger's good.
if you happen to put in something in there and you see some information that very much concerns you, you don't have to talk to me, but I'd be more than happy to field questions if you have any. Because it's going to give you a lot of information and it could be scary. I want you to feel like you have at least one professional, someone you know that you can ask, and I would be more than happy to. Okay. But that's homework. So, we do have a second class, so it is homework.
It's homework.
I will be asking.
All right.
Yeah, I will. I will. Yeah. No, it's the 22nd. Yeah.
Well, we'll be gone.
I know. We were trying to balance that, and it
That
just.
way you girls go away and I'll tag one-on-one.
Second, okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll
Getting silly.
I'll be there. There'll be a few of us coming back.
I don't know who blushed more on that one, you or him.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we have 4 sections, but that was for sure the biggest one. So I'm going to go into what the managers actually are, right? So the first one was the problem. Now I'm going to give you the solution, my proposed solution. Those of you who know me, I'm very much against saying one size fits all. All of you are going to have different needs. Thank you. Needs, expectations, yeah, all of that. Thank you. I was looking for a specific word. Anyway, doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying. And then my perfect world solution is using a password manager. I believe that no one should have to remember a password, except for the one password, and we'll get into the security things of that. But I have probably, I think I counted in mine, I have like 200 or 300 passwords, and I don't remember maybe a few of the passwords. So.
But you had to go in and change every one of those to put them into.
Oh yeah.
And move it from all of this into.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying and we'll get more into that portion of it next class. But
So I'll see you in 2028 when I get
yeah,
back.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
10 a day.
Yeah. That's how I did it. That is actually how. So when I decided I was going to do a password manager, because in my field and in my position, I was like, wow, it adds a lot more fear to you because you can see what can happen. Anyway, but that's what I did. I did 10, 15 a day until I got them all. And was it a lot of work? Yes. Do I feel a lot better? Yes. Anyway, what is a password manager? It is a digital vault that helps you generate secure passwords. It stores those passwords, and then when you need to go and use them, it helps you autofill the usernames and passwords instead of typing them in, is what that means. It also helps you manage your MFA. So some of those 6-digit tokens or things like that, it can actually secure those as well for you. So in other words, it takes a lot of the effort out of trying to manage all that. Any questions so far? Sure. So I used to use a product called LastPass. LastPass, like L-A-S-T, password, LastPass. She was like, are any people trying to break into these? And I'm actually going to go over why I consider them still secure. But of course, I mean, there's a gold mine there.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Why go after piecemeal when you could go after the...
True. 100%. LastPass is a company I no longer use because they've had multiple breaches. Though in their defense, no passwords were leaked. And I'll get into how that's possible, how they can get the information but not get the information. Yes?
Dylan, when you go in, I have an iPhone
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
So there's a password manager
Yeah.
in there. When you go in to change, should you go to the site or can you do it in your password manager?
So-
Is it okay to do that?
So the password manager is just a recording tool. It is not possible to change your password through them. There's very few instances where...
It says change password like it's going to let you.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can change the password in the password manager,
Okay.
but that does not mean it goes to the company and changes it for them.
Okay.
You have to make... So in a perfect world, and this is kind of a next class thing, what you do is you go to the website, change the password, and in most cases the password manager will recognize that you're resetting it, and it'll save that change. You can definitely go into the manager and change the password, but it's going to be in your vault and not on the website.
Okay.
So what you're going to have is a mismatch. So you're going to go to try and log in, and it's going to say you have the wrong password. Yeah. That was a very good question, by the way. Thank you. Okay. The benefits of password managers. They're convenient. You don't have to memorize tons of, not just your passwords, right? Like if you have a username in one place, your email in another, it'll remember the username for you, your email address, all that. It's secure. So if you do it in my belief on how you should implement it, every password is going to be different and strong. And then it works across devices. So in other words, once you get these set up, if you have your password manager everywhere it should be, which I'll get to, the password, if you change it on your computer, it'll change on your phone. If you change it on your phone, it'll change on your computer, your tablet, your Apple Watch, your Samsung Watch, whatever. So the goal is to be able to centralize all of that.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Usernames.
Yes.
What was it you, explain to me what you think the username is.
So it depends. So usernames and email addresses are different things, but some websites tend to call them the same thing. A username is like Dylan Wisdom is my username. I use that to log in. Dylan W97. I use that to log in. An email address is your email, full email. And what the difference is between that is some websites will only let you set up a username and not use your email address.
Yeah, they don't want the characters.
Right. And really all that is saying is that the manager will also take care of that for you, so you don't have to remember those either. Yeah. But a username and email address, even though they're different types of information, they're for the same purpose, which is when you provide a password, who is that password being used against? Meaning like, am I Dylan? Am I, Bonnie? Am I whoever? Right? So, yeah, no problem. Is that clear? Okay, sorry. Types of information. So, again, so they are a huge vault, and because they're secure, they've been used to store a lot of other things. So passwords, of course, usernames, forms. So like I have a contact form set up in my password manager. So if I ever have to do anything where I have to type in my name, my address, et cetera, I just click one button and it fills in my address, my state, my et cetera.
Does it also do signatures on that?
Sort of.
Sign like DocuSign, but...
Yeah, I think you could. It doesn't say store your signature, but I think you could do it as like a note, which is down here. And we can talk about that. It also stores, like I have my checking account and my credit cards in there, so if I ever need to autofill my credit card, it'll do that for you. Checking and banking accounts, all that for you. Again, and I know this is sounding like, oh my gosh, that is a lot of important information to put in one basket. And I understand that. I don't want you to think that hasn't missed me here though. But so this is specifically out of 1Password, which is the product I use. That doesn't mean it's the best one. It's just the one that makes sense for me. But see, this is the standard. So your logins, your secure notes, credit cards, passwords, document, identity, and it's got all these other things like my driver's license, other licenses, your Wi-Fi passwords, your social security numbers, all sorts of other things.
I'm sorry, which one do you use?
1Password, like the number 1 and password. That is what I use. That doesn't mean that's the only option, and I'll get to that in a second. But these are just...
Good on Apple as well.
Yep. Oh, yeah. So anything that I'm going to talk about today is... Actually, I lied. Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Sorry, I thought of one other thing. But 1Password is not agnostic towards any platform. Because that would defeat the purpose. That's what we're trying to do, is make sure we can get access to everything anyway. But anyway, we call them password managers, but really they are as digital vaults for all sorts of information. And then the beauty of keeping things like this, like an identity is what I was saying, I like a contact form, is that you don't have to remember that and all that fun stuff. Okay, so most password managers, they have 2 tiers. They either have free basic options and they have paid options, monthly or yearly, right? So some, like 1Password I don't actually think has a free tier, to be honest. There's also another company that I've used a lot called Bitwarden. I'll show you in a second the verbiage on that. But they have a free option and paid options. There's also Apple passwords and Google passwords, like a Google Password Manager, that are completely free. The difference between that is kind of what features and stuff they offer to you, and we'll get into that. So, in my mind, there's two types of products for password managers. There's native ones, which would be Google Passwords and Apple Passwords. So, I used to not mention Apple Passwords because it used to be very closed off, meaning you could only use it on Apple devices. They've actually created browser plugins and stuff that'll work on Windows and other things like that. So that is an option. And if you're using an iPhone, you probably already have it set up and are potentially using it without knowing it. If you ever see like a pop-up that says, hey, would you like to save this login for later? That's usually Apple Passwords. Or if your browser is asking you to save a password, that's going to be Google Passwords.
And that's all right to do that?
It is okay to do that, but it depends on how. So with any of these, blanket statement, saving passwords in your browser is generally safe as long as you're protecting the computer itself.
Okay.
But if you don't have a password, and same thing with your phone, with Apple Keychain or any of that, if you're not protecting the device that the password manager is on, then it's not secure, because if anyone can access that, then they can get to it, right? So the tool itself is secure, but the way you use it has to also be secure. Okay, am I losing any of you yet?
So like if you said Bitwarden.
Yeah, and I'll get to that here in a second. See the Bitwardens here. I'm sorry.
So like if you're on a utility site and
Uh-huh.
it pops up where it'll say, save this password for future, is that going into 1Password or is that just going to their website?
So usually if you get a pop-up that says, would you like to save this password, it's going to go to whatever browser you're using. So most modern browsers, whether you're using Firefox, Chrome, Edge, I didn't mention those here, but they all have password manager functions in them.
If I'm on an iPad and so it would go to my.
It's probably your keychain on Apple, so Apple Passwords. These are third-party products. Again, you don't have to use a third-party product. The reason I do is because they have certain features and options that some other ones don't have. We can get into that a little more, but this is the one I currently use. This is also a fantastic choice. I don't have personal experience with this one, but I also know a lot of people who would die by this one. There are some features that Bitwarden has that 1Password doesn't have, but I like the look and the feel of the other one better, so we can get into that more, but there's really, what I'm trying to say is there's no number one option. I would start with probably like a free option, like Bitwarden is free, and you can see how that feels first, right?
What is your drawing on?
This one?
What does it say? The logo, whatever?
Oh, this is 1Password and this is Bitwarden. This is their logo.
What's the first one?
1Password.
So
No,
if
no.
you see that logo,
No,
then you're on the right side.
on the,
This one?
the first one is 1Password and that's Bitword.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just needed an image for the slide, to be honest with you. I didn't know what else to put there. Right, yeah. Okay, so how secure is a manager? All right, so this is the part where I answer everyone's question. Why would I put all that important information in one place? Okay, so strong encryption. And again, I'll explain encryption in a very simple way. So encryption is just scrambling things so that you can't read it. And to unscramble it, you have to have a key. That's all encryption is. All of the ones I would be speaking about, as far as I'm aware, have a zero-knowledge policy, meaning that even if they wanted to, they don't have access to the encryption keys to encrypt your data. So the companies themselves, when you save it with them, they can't go and look at your information even if they wanted to.
Okay, say companies.
1Password, Bitwarden, Google, Apple. Yep. That's what I mean by companies, I'm sorry. The companies who produce these products. Local unlock. Usually what that means is that, so we kind of think of encryption kind of like doors and keys, right? So most of us go to the door and we unlock the key, right? Or we take the key to the door and we unlock it. So the way modern encryption works is actually your key never goes anywhere, so you're always holding on to that. You never have to transfer it. They actually bring the door to you and unlock it. So what that means is your password is never going out on the internet. It's never being transferred. It's always local.
Maybe it was because
Right.
everything's in the vault.
No, because, yes, correct. But what they do is they download the vault to your computer, and you're unlocking it on your computer, instead of the vault being in the cloud and you uploading your key to them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, your big, scary password that unlocks everything should never go on the internet. It should always stay right there where you type it.
Big scary password. That would be your big scary.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Will we get there today?
I think so. I believe so.
Okay.
So in other words, so they encrypt your passwords, and like I was talking to you about before, so LastPass did have breaches, which is a product I don't use anymore because of that. But the passwords were never, even though people got like usernames and stuff like that, which is still a problem, don't get me wrong. They still should not have been saving login information like your email or your username in plain text, meaning it was not encrypted or scrambled. They did have the passwords encrypted and scrambled, so they never got the passwords. Now, hackers can still use your login and your usernames, so I don't use them anymore. But my point is all these companies, they encrypt everything. So even if bad guys got to the information, it's very unlikely that they could even see it. They could see the scramble mess, but they would not be able to unlock it without your key. And so the only way they're going to get your key is if they get it from you.
So does my key is
Your master password. That one password that unlocks everything. That's your key.
and where do I keep that master password?
We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
It'll stay there.
Okay. I'm going to skip this because I don't think it, based on how today is going, I don't think we're ready for this yet. I don't mean it like that, but there's a lot of things that these tools can do that I don't think we need yet. So I'm going to spare you the grief of trying to understand everything that they do, and I want to focus on just the password aspect of it. I will say though, like one password costs me like $20 a year or something to use. I think Bitwarden's very similar. They're not expensive things. There are free options, don't get me wrong, but even if you want more of a paid option with more features, they're not terribly expensive. They're very affordable things, especially if you consider how weak your passwords can be and what that would cost you if something happened. Think of it like a type of insurance. Okay, so again, your homework is to go and look at password managers that I suggest in here, and then you're going to come back and you're going to ask me questions. But generally speaking, you want to choose one that feels the most easy for you to use. So each one looks a little different, and just that alone can make you choose what you want to look at. And then pricing and features. Again, I don't want to go too depth into that, but it's like choosing anything, like a car. You're going to go and you're going to buy a car that has the options you want in it at the price you want it. Same thing. Okay, any questions? Yes.
I want to know about the safety of browsers, because there's
Okay.
an ad on TV about, I think it recommends Safari, and it talks about safety. Is there any issue there, you think?
Yeah, of course. And what I mean by that is, in almost all technology, there are very few things that are truly bad. It's all about how you implement and use them. What I mean is, like, who's heard that Apple is more secure than Windows, right? That's a huge thing that is said a lot. And in this part, Google versus Safari. Now, at some level, there is truth behind that. And the truth is that there's always going to be some vulnerabilities in some software compared to others. But the biggest concern towards any of those softwares is how you're using them. So in other words, nowadays social engineering is the biggest gotcha, like the biggest thing that gets people financially with identity theft, etc. The browser you're using is not going to change that really. So I know that seems kind of like a not solid answer, but as long as you're using your tool correctly, then I don't see a major difference between them. Yeah. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mhm.
I try to approach that or mention that very often because it's very true. There are very few things tool-wise that are bad, inherently bad. It's all about how you use them. Now some like Linux systems or things like that, you have to know what you're doing, and that makes it inherently harder to do good things with it. Okay, good so far? Questions? I promise we're almost done, and it's going to get easier. We're going downhill at this part. The first section was like really steep uphill, and now we're coasting. So don't stress. Yeah. Okay, so places where we want to use our password manager. We use them in browsers, computers, phones, and tablets, and pretty much anywhere else that has a screen.
Browsers, explain what browsers are.
And what I mean by web browser is our browser is your web browser. So like Google, you can use 1Password, or you can use their built-in one. Edge, what? Bing, sure. You can use it all in there.
Edge.
Yep, all of those. So it's just a web browser. Anything you use to view a website. So like if you go to your bank.com, bank.com, like if you go to, I'm just filling in the place right there, but if you go to Chrome or Google or whatever tool you're using to go to bank,
Called a browser.
that is called a browser. Yeah.
Okay, so.
I'm sorry,
an
yes.
An app is something you go to the app store and download an app.
Right.
Solitaire or.
Exactly, yep. And a browser is what you use to go to a website.
Got it.
And then and then the browser can have a password manager built into it. So that when you go to websites, you can either store your passwords or autofill them so you can log in.
So once, like for instance, I use Amazon, but I have the app Amazon.
Sure.
That's not a browser.
That is not a browser.
Google,
Yeah, it's websites.
websites.
Yeah,
or
so
call
browsers
websites.
are for websites. So if like you're going to anything like www.whatever.com or just whoever.org or .com, you're going through a browser.
So when she does that, to go to Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
then that's a browser.
Correct, exactly. So if you open up the Amazon app on your phone, that's an app. But if you're going on your computer to Amazon.com, you're most likely in a browser. Does that
Or
make
like
sense?
you're going to Zillow.
Zillow.com, yep, you're in a browser. Yep,
Anytime you search for something, you're
Yep.
calling it a browser.
pretty much, yeah. Yeah, you do.
He's doing it.
And that's why it's hard.
For instance, you're going somewhere and you want VRBO.
Mhm.
Okay, so I go to Google.
Yep, and
And
that's,
I put in VRBO looking for this.
yep. And Google is in a browser.
Okay.
Yep. Browsers are like the lens for the internet. They're how you look at websites.
Difference between Google and Chrome.
There's not, and I'm sorry, I use them interchangeably. So Google is a big company. Chrome is one of their products.
Okay.
Google, and they call it Google Chrome
Yeah,
full.
they call it-
Yeah, and
okay.
I'm sorry. I was
Sorry.
no, but it is a good point to clear or to make clear. Google is just a big company that has a whole bunch of different products. Chrome being one of them. So you'll hear it
So
referred to it.
if I type in Google or I type in Chrome or whatever, it's actually literally the same thing. I'm not getting a
So-
different browser if I type in Chrome. Google.
No, Google is not a browser all on its own. It is a website that you can access using Google Chrome browser.
Yeah.
Right? Firefox is another one, yep. Safari is another one. Edge is another one.
But some websites for like banks, they don't use anything but like Google Chrome. They don't like Firefox and some of that, so you can't log into your account using the other types of search engines.
Well, no.
Yes, but no. So that is true. So browsers are kind of interpreters. They interpret the website. They're getting more close to being on the same plane. There are times where one works differently than the other, but they're getting pretty close to being on the same level here. Yeah, because you're right. Historically, there has been differences between them, but we're all kind of getting on the same page now, 30, 40 years later. Okay, so don't read into this too much. I just want to go through this really quick. Browsers, web browsers, Google Chrome, Firefox. If you're using those on a computer, in most instances, they have what they call like an extension store.
A what?
An extension store. So I'll show you because I don't want to confuse. Okay, so see how I'm sorry, I'll go down here. So see how I'm using Google right now?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so this whole thing is a browser. So this, where I have the website up here and the tabs, everything. This.
So you mean that's where you went to get to there?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so do you see all these little dots up here?
Mhm.
These things? So a browser has one function, which is to look at websites. Now, let's say that I want to go to a website and have my password manager automatically put my password in for me, which is the goal. Your browser cannot do that on its own. It doesn't know how to do that unless you're using Google Passwords. Google has a built-in manager that is part of its functionality. But let's say I want to use 1Password, which is what I'm doing. I have to add that to the browser for it to be able to use that function. And
So you went from that
Yep.
little circle down below
yep,
to your,
yep. And then I'm going to type in, sorry, ignore the Google part because I've got my stuff set up funny. But most of the time, if you go to, thank you.
yeah. I
Like if you go to google.com, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, I get
That helps.
I've been using that and didn't even realize that.
Right, yeah, exactly. So if you Google 1Password extension, so see how it says Chrome Web Store?
Yeah.
Right, so that's how you add that functionality. And if I click on that,
What functionality?
I'll show you. No, you're fine. I'm just saying like, so see how it says remove from Chrome because I already added it?
What
But
are you removing from Chrome?
I'm not going to do anything. I'm just saying I already have it. So see how the little icon's up there?
Uh-huh.
And see it's that? I already added this to my browser so it can use my passwords. Right? So your browser doesn't know how to do that without, it's like an app for your browser. Think of it like that. Yeah. Kind of, yeah. So, and I know this gets confusing and it's hard without doing one-on-one stuff because browsers, even though they were designed just to view websites, they do so many things now. They've been turned into this multi-tool that can do all sorts of things. And so that means that even though that you can install Chrome itself as an app, Chrome can have apps inside of it. So you kind of added like a complexity there.
Dylan,
Yes.
up there on the top, it says, the very top, it's kind of faded. It says Chrome, Web Store, Google,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
And then there's a bunch of gibberish on behind that.
Yep.
What are those things?
So this gibberish,
Or those letters and whatever?
yeah, so it's going to change depending on what website you're on.
Oh, okay, not to get concerned.
Correct. What? No, it's okay. It's okay. No.
Don't you go up and take those
I
out?
delete
You
those.
you can.
I do, I go up there and I.
Delete it and put Google.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
and I saw you do that.
You just run it backwards, yeah, you just run it from the.
You cleared all of that out and went into Google.
Yeah, but now it's not going to know where I'm going. So not a password related thing, but those random string of texts can be useful for the website. Some websites will have to have those. Some won't. Now again, this gets into the tricky bit of like why scammers have jobs that they can do, and that's because they use information like that to obscure what they're trying to do because you're like, oh, maybe it's normal, maybe it's not. It's hard to know. At the end of the day, what is most important is this. See where it says chromewebstore.google.com?
Yes.
Okay. So if I back all the way up, just to the .com, .org, .net, whatever, and this looks like a reputable site without crazy stuff, which this does to me, then usually everything after that is okay. Usually. You have to still be cautious, but
So if we wanted, we just typed in like one password.
yeah.
If we started there, would it take us to that?
Potentially, yeah. So like, I'll show you.
Okay.
Sorry everyone, I know it's getting late.
No, wow, this is great.
So I'm just Googling 1Password, just simply Googling 1Password.
Oh, okay,
And then so you're gonna see where it says sponsored, which is okay.
okay.
Just means that they're paying for their listing to be there. But if you go all the way down before after the last sponsored, see is password, and it doesn't matter which one you click on. Sorry, hang on, I'll raise it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Instead of having to try to remember what our notes say.
Sure.
It will take you.
Yes, just
Eventually.
still be aware, right? But see where I'm looking at 1Password in this example, and it does give you like Chrome browser, Windows, Mac, etc. So they do try to help you get to there, right? It's in their best interest to help you install it because then they use their product. Right?
Because, you know, like for instance, if you're, I don't know about anybody else, like, I'm just gonna use the, city reservations at United Airlines.
Sure.
You gotta be really careful
Yes.
that you're going to their direct
Yes.
website, because it can throw you. There's other things there,
You think it's gonna come up first and it does not.
and it does not.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
have to
you
watch,
always make sure at the top it's got the HTTP
right.
before you.
HTTPS.
S, excuse me.
No, you're
Say it
fine.
again,
HTTPS.
So what I know it'll be kind of tiny, but what she's saying is, see right here.
Yeah.
So 1Password.com, see the S?
Yes?
The S stands for secure.
Oh, did not know that, okay.
Okay, Dylan, there was somebody was
Yeah.
trying to tell me that after your HTTPS, it's supposed to either have a colon or something else to make it something about the security or something.
No, that is incorrect. So HTTP, if you had just HTTP://, it would still work if the website exists.
And
But
it
that
would
does
still
not
be
mean it's,
secure?
no, it will not. You have to have this S here.
The S is what makes it secure.
Yes, the :// doesn't mean anything in regards to security.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'm trying to see here, but usually if you go to whatever product you decide to use, they'll usually walk you through, like if you go to products and you go like password management, they're going to help you install it. And I know you guys are going to come back with questions, and that's perfectly fine. I can also help you do it next class or whenever on another seminar. Sorry, you usually have to scroll
But,
through all their crap.
Dylan, for instance, I already have, like, on my, I guess you would call it,
Your phone?
these little things. I already have United, my shopper, like.
Sure.
So I can go directly to this, pressing on that, brings me to that place.
Correct.
Okay.
That's on your, yes. Yes, you are correct. No.
Okay.
The apps on your phone take you directly to that place.
To the United Airlines.
Right. Apps and browsers are we've tried to make technology so easy that sometimes the lines between them, they get really blurred. And that's what you're feeling, the confusion is because they've made such a good job at trying to not make you feel the difference, is that it's hard to now identify the difference, right? But unfortunately with password management, you have to and this is all upfront stuff. This is not stuff you should have to mess with much once you get it going, right? So this is part of the work of getting yourself to that place. But once you get the password manager in all the places that you need it, it should keep itself going. Okay. So same thing on computer. So that same website that I went to, it should help you install it on the actual computer itself if you need it just on the computer. So there's three main places that you put it: the browser, the computer itself, and then the phone. And there are reasons why you do each of them. And then the phone, and and then the phone is an app. Like you go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, and then you download it. With your password, yeah. Any questions? I feel like I lost some of you on that last bit. What? Well, hang on. I feel like that question may have been a good or bad answer on absolutely. What do you mean by?
Well, you know how like on your apps you get
Yeah.
updates.
Sure.
And iPhone gets operating system updates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Windows has updates. Everybody has updates.
So I would consider LastPass or one password bit when they're all security tools, and because they're security tools, the security industry, you have to. I mean, they're always constantly trying to revise bugs or things like that.
But still sign in to 1Password direct, not
Right.
through a link.
Correct.
Dylan, do you actually store your passwords that you made up? Because I think I have a friend that like just goes in and it gives her
Mm-hmm.
she just clicks on a password. It's not what she made up. It just clicks on a password. She sticks it in and
Yep.
goes and does it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can look. Yeah, and I actually plan on going into that in the next class.
What was that last one?
So she asked. So the password manager itself, like if you're creating an account or changing a password, it'll actually give you suggestions for you. So you don't actually have to create or come up with something. It'll generate it for you, say, okay, you're good with it, and it'll store it for you too. Yes.
If I'm using Google as
Yeah.
my browser and Google already has my passwords in it, they somehow took it on themselves to make a password manager, and I decided I want instead this one password for it to be my manager. Does that override what I already have?
So glad you asked that. Give me like 2 slides and I'll get there. So
Say that again.
So her question was, like, what if you're using one solution for your passwords and you're like, this isn't good enough or I want to change? How do I go from one to the other? Or does it just take over? Or how does that whole process look? And it's actually fairly simple. Bear in mind. So I'll get there in 2 seconds. Does that make sense?
No, I just said nothing simple, but go ahead.
I have to give you some hope. I can't just be like, oh, it's going to be terrible.
Go ahead.
So creating your account. So usually if you buy a product, it'll walk you through that. But it's going to be an email address and your very secure master password.
You're creating
An account.
one-stop password.
Right. So if you sign up for one of these products.
We're creating a bank account.
Correct.
For our bank.
Correct. Yes.
Password bank.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. So again, protecting your manager, you want to verify your email address with them. I've had some people, so there's very few times where you have to log back into your manager once you're in there, right? But let's say that you never verified your email address, and what that means is essentially they send you a code to your email to make sure your email is working. I've unfortunately seen where people have like multiple L's or an I and an L together or something, and the human eye misses that and their email address was never correct. They had the need to reset their password and they lost it, right? So if your email address is also going to facilitate if you ever have to reset your master password. Again, another reason to protect your email address separately. But if you don't have access to your email or you lose that, then you lose both. So
When it says no password, it is the password to the email. It's email password.
correct, and exactly. And I've also had people where they have the correct email address, but they don't know the password to their email. And because it's, so. Yeah. So always make sure you can get into your email, in other words, and that you have the email set correctly in the password manager. Again, that's when you create the account. When you create your account, your username is going to be the email address. So make sure that's correct. And then usually when you go through the sign-up process, they'll send a message to your email to verify that is what it is, or the email address is correct on file. Your password manager also has MFA, so they'll also have you set up another form of protection against your master password. because if someone, however, manages to get your master password, you still have protection, right? So the goal is to never ever have that in a place where anyone can see it, but if that ever happens, you can still have another layer of protection on top of that. And then securing your master password. So personally, my master password is completely random. It's about 16 characters long, and I just flat out memorized it. Great, that is a solution, that is a option. Because that doesn't sound so bad if you use it over and over again. What you can also do, if you have to, you can write, I know what I'm about to say, I get it. You can write it down, but you have to make sure, give that written down note another form of protection. Put it behind something with a key, a pin, I don't care. No, please don't do that. No, tape is not a strong enough protection. No. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's really safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you say, how to store that?
1 second. So, no, you're fine. So you can write it, you have my permission to write it down, but you also have to have another form of protection. What I mean by that is if you have your master password and you write it down and you put it on top of your desk, that is not what I'm saying.
Right.
I am saying you have to put it in a drawer with a key, or in a safe box with a code, or at the bank in your safety deposit box. Like, no one should be able to just to go up to that piece of paper.
Right.
And in that line of thinking, you should have it in 2 places. So in other words, if your house burns down or something like that, a tornado, whatever, and you only have that password on 1 piece of paper, you're going to have a really bad day afterwards. I mean, your house burning down is already a bad day, but once then you realize that you can't get into anything.
You also put me in the burn.
Right.
It just got worse.
Yeah. I've seen a very common thing for this is to give the piece of paper to a distant relative, and then have that you trust, right? Don't get me wrong. But give it to someone to put in their safety deposit box. Or if you have a safety deposit box, keep one locked in your drawer at home, one in the safety deposit box, something like that.
Do you have that?
I do.
Because if you get amnesia,
Right. Right. I know. Yeah.
Wow, we're going to real extremes here.
I also have my beautiful wife who is very good at remembering things too, so.
Can you have it tattooed on the bottom of your foot?
There's another one that's a
Mike, I want to see you read it.
With a mirror.
Oh, okay.
Have it tattooed backwards so it shows up in the mirror. That'll be the correct one.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to look for your password on the bottom of your foot.
It might be including you.
Right.
Including you.
Do what you want with that, but
You're like that Sue reader.
it's probably not the worst suggestion I've ever had.
But they kind of go down.
Well, no kidding. And if they won't be able to see it, they won't be able to
I don't know.
Real talk?
It's a giveaway.
Oh boy, I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
Oh boy.
You
I-
just want to know.
I don't even know.
You can always practice all your presentations here first to find out what kind of
I know.
answers you're going to get.
I know.
Oh, Dylan, you're too funny.
I don't even know what I did.
It's okay.
Don't imagine it.
I am working on a stand-up routine right now, so if you look for that.
You need to bring her along.
Yeah.
No, we can give you some ideas.
Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Gosh. So, let's say that you're not happy with what you're using and you want to go on from that. This is answering your question. So many of these tools bake in ways to do that because, again, it's in their benefit. If you're going to come from a competitor and use their product, they're going to make that as easy as possible for you. So, like in your case, you're using Google. They have an option here to migrate your information from Google.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of these password managers, they have a built-in way to migrate from one place to another. So once you set one up, it doesn't just flip, but if you sign up for 1Password, in other words, this is just the screenshot I have because this is what I use, but they have a way where you can say, okay, I currently use Chrome. I'd like to switch from Chrome to 1Password, and then they have ways of just adding all that information that currently is into the new place.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You just tell them what you want to do and
Yeah.
then do, okay.
the only place that doesn't work, and because even on here there's an option I know for CSV file, which is your Excel sheets. There's even a way to do that from Excel, right? The only caveat here is anything that is written down or in your brain. You have to go in and add those all manually. But if you're switching from one place to another, I believe even if you have it written down on a digital sheet, not even in Excel, you can copy and paste information to it and it'll create. So if you're switching from one to another, it's pretty easy as long as it's not just in your memory. If it is just in your memory or written on paper, then you'll have to go through and you'll have to add each one by one initially. But then once you have them in there initially, every password change and things like that will be easier to do. And I'll show you how to do that in the next class.
Are you meaning the 20 seconds?
Yes.
So those of us who are going to be gone are going to miss out on that.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
You're not taking us with you, so we are not gonna have sympathy for you.
But it'll be on its website.
Yes, I will record it and post it.
You ruined it.
Um,
We were trying to get him to take us.
Because I understand how this sounds, but I do want everyone to have that information. So I will do my best to make sure that is what's happening.
And if we get caught, we got a card and we can call.
Exactly.
You agree?
Okay, we're pretty much done. I just wanted to, out of all of this is your homework. If you want to use a password manager, this is your homework.
Okay.
Now, I am not going to pretend like everyone feels like this is necessary for them. So I hope I gave you, if you don't feel like a password manager is something that you can do or want to do or however, I hope I gave you information on how to protect yourself otherwise. But, and there are definitely reasons, valid reasons not to use them in terms of your own personal experience and situation. I think it's the number one best way right now to protect yourself against password-related problems. But, so in other words, if you have questions specifically for your needs, I'm more than happy to answer those. In general, if you want to go towards what I believe is the number one solution for most, not all, but most, then this is what I would do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.